he himself had said he had talked to me. So I confirmed it is me who called him. And I was actually asking him whether it doesn't bother him to be supporting a government that kills its own people. I was urging him to leave William Ruto's government because I was so sure without his support it would collapse. I told him I'm not seeking an answer today. I'm leaving it with you to think. But he did say he was very uncomfortable. But if there is someone bereaved politically, heavily, it's Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Even now, he is not so sure that he can make it another year in government. His government can collapse anytime.
Thank you for keeping it TV47. This is the home of untold stories, and with me is Honorable Martha Karua, who is the party leader for the People's Liberation Party and a champion of justice and the rule of law. Karibu sana. Thank you for joining us. And how are you doing?
I'm good, and thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. 2025, what would you say are some of your highs and lows?
I would describe it as anno horribis. It's been a terrible year. We've seen the rise of cross-border abductions. We've seen intentional violation of human rights. And 3 East African states, namely Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, collaborating intentionally to violate the rights of citizens. So we've seen a clawback on human rights and civil liberties. We've also seen deterioration of services in Kenya. We've seen generally rise in cost of living. Yes. It's a year of hardships to many people. Yeah.
All right, and of course, as we reflect on your year and probably the future for you, we cannot fail to mention Tanzania, especially this year, the scenes of you being deported back to the country. As you look back at it, how would you say that experience was, and have you been back to Tanzania since then?
No, once you are deported, it means you're a persona non grata. Like I said, when Tundu Lissu becomes president of Tanzania, I will be back, because Tanzania does not belong to the current head of state or to CCM as a party. Tanzania belongs to Tanzanians, and it also belongs to the Jumuiya. We are citizens of Jumuiya. Mama Suluhu had no business deporting us, and what she was trying to hide, because we were going to be observers in Tundu Lissu's politically motivated treason trial. What she was hiding from the world by barring observers like myself has come out. The massacre of Tanzanians on 29th of October this year, mass murder of Tanzanians, scenes of bodies piling in hospitals, scenes of indiscriminate shooting in the streets and in homes. The full scale of violation of human rights in Tanzania has been laid bare to the world, and atrocities that have not been known anywhere else. Disappearance of bodies, yes, of dead people, including some Kenyans. Bodies disappearing from the mortuaries where the relatives left them. Those bodies have not been accounted for. Rumors are circulating that the CCM government has disposed of the bodies. People with bullet injuries in hospitals, rumors of them being disappeared completely, some of them fleeing and leaving to tell their stories in neighboring countries, including Kenya. So whatever she was trying to prevent, and attention on her country by the world of politically motivated trial of Tundu Lissu has been laid bare, plus much more. And remember that Tundu Lissu was not only prevented from participating in elections. She would have been her really serious competitor. His party, Chadema, was also bad, or because they are calling for reforms before elections. It cannot be a treasonable thing to call for reforms. Trials in Tanzania are public criminal trials, just like in Kenya. So what was wrong with us, citizens of the Jumuiya, going to observe a trial of our colleague? The Jumuiya is for the ease of movement of people, goods and services. We are citizens of the Jumuiya. The national anthem asks that Jumuiya yetu tuilinde, tuwajibike, ndio tuimarike. We were in Tanzania to safeguard our Jumuiya. We were there kuwajibika, to ensure that our Jumuiya functions.
Yes.
And I think as citizens of Jumuiya, now that we have seen that the three governments of Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania are collaborating, have decided to become rogue states, collaborating to oppress the people, we have no option but to stand together in solidarity with one another. And we were in Tanzania in solidarity with Tundu Lissu. And I'm across in Uganda on the Besi case,
yes,
in solidarity with him and with other political prisoners, remembering that Besi was abducted from Kenya,
yes,
renditioned to Uganda, and abduction because it was not an arrest. Our law demands that if you want to arrest a foreign national on behalf of their government, a formal request has to come to the Kenyan Attorney General. It has to be taken before a court of law, and the person you want to arrest must have a right to defend themselves. In other words, due process. And that is the law also in Uganda.
Right.
So both Uganda and Kenya deliberately, intentionally violated their laws, their constitutions, and international law to collaborate in the arrest, in the abduction of Besi and Lutale, and renditioning them to Uganda. And I like to say this was not the first such abduction. In July of last year, 36 Ugandans, all party members of Besi's party, were arrested in Kisumu, where they were having a workshop, renditioned to Uganda, charged in the military court with security offenses, which have all been withdrawn.
And we will be getting back to Uganda in a few, but let me just take you back to Tanzania. You know, for very long, it has been known as the quiet country and the place of stability in East Africa. And after now your deportation, were you surprised by the resurgence we saw during election day and even after?
I was surprised. Nyerere's Tanzania was a place of peace, a place of refuge. Kenyan students who were terminated because of being outspoken in the University of Nairobi would find a home in Dar es Salaam, and they didn't have to pay fees. They would go to Dar es Salaam University, and Mukisa Kitui is one such beneficiary, the late Otieno Kajwang. You know, they would go there, study, and proceed. Mukisa Kitui, I mean not Otieno Kajwang, Mukisa Kitui. There were many people. Countries like South Africa had their nationals in Tanzania, taking refuge from the apartheid regime. Tanzania was a place of safety. This is unrecognizable. Since the days of Magufuli, it could be earlier, but we started noticing changes since the days of Magufuli. The knowledge in Tanzania of the outside world about violation of human rights started, I believe, at least it came to my attention during the Magufuli era, where just some innocuous things like denying young girls who got pregnant in school the chance to return to school, punishing them for those mistakes and denying them a better future. And it morphed into election violence. Magufuli's election was bloody. It was full of violation of human rights. You know, something we had seen in Uganda, not in Tanzania.
In Tanzania.
And now during Mama Suluhu, a small window of peace where even Tundu Lissu returned from exile, political activity of opposition was possible. Then, closer to elections, Mama Suluhu morphs into an authoritarian who will not stand competition. The end result, she competed against her own shadow because the main opposition party, Chadema, was off the competition. Its leader still in jail today. The second largest party, ACT Wazalendo, their candidate removed from the voters' roll. And Mama Suluhu is left with competitors, I don't know where, small, unrecognizable parties. And of course, then she declares that she has won by 98% yes. in an election that was marred by very low voter turnout. I'm repeating the words of the SADC and AU observers.
Yes.
An election where in some stations there were more police than voters. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, when women are in leadership, they're normally seen as people who are nurturing. Do you think that President Samia Suluhu Hassan has now painted women in bad light?
I keep saying this question ought not to be. Adolf Hitler was a man. After him, no man should ever have sat on the throne. Idi Amin was a man. And William Ruto is a man. And in Kenya, there's been mass killing of demonstrators in 2003. I was involved in Azimio demonstrations, indiscriminate shooting of people in Mlolongo, a mother holding a child coming from school, people inside their shops, in Kondele, breaking of doors at night, waking people up and killing, ending up killing 2 brothers. People killed while outside their houses in low-income areas like Mathare and Kibera. What happened in Tanzania has footprints of what had happened in Kenya in 2003. Then we saw the mass killing of peaceful protesters in 2024, the Gen Z. We've again seen a repeat when the Gen Z were commemorating 2024 and on Sabasaba this year. Tanzania has footprints of Kenya, meaning these authoritarian regimes are copying each other. Only that in Tanzania, it was horrifying. It was more than we have seen anywhere else. I'm sorry, but I have to say this. Tanzanian looked like the massacres of Darfur.
Mm-hmm. And you see the response of Samia Suluhu that, you know, she says outsiders perhaps instigated the violence that was seen on election day. What do you make of that?
First, her regime has been involved in cross-border abduction. You remember Mwagondi abducted from Tanzania where he was legitimately working, tortured, rendition to Kenya. Boniface Mwangi abducted. Why I say abducted, it started as an arrest, but they did not tell him for what offense. He was tortured. He was removed from a gazetted police station, taken to miscellaneous places in Tanzania, which is the hallmark of an abduction, tortured and dumped on the Kenyan border. The same with Agatha Atuhaire of Uganda. Ambassador Pole Pole, a Tanzanian national, has gone missing after being abducted in a very bloody scene. Mudude Nyagali, an activist in Tanzania, a member of Chadema, abducted over 6 months ago in a bloody scene in his house, has not been seen. That's Mama Samia Suluhu's presidency.
And then what then would you say is the way forward for Tanzania?
Way forward is the negotiating table.
Just like Kenya
has always done?
Tanzania?
No, I'm not talking of a coalition government. Tanzanians must sit at the table and chart the way forward. You cannot negotiate with people whose hands are tied. So the first act must be to release all political prisoners, get to the table. Today, I am told that the deployment of security agents around all the main cities, Arusha, Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. I am told it's so heavy, just like we saw William Ruto doing during the Azimio demonstrations and Gen Z demonstrations. Sometimes there would be more police in the city of Nairobi guarding all entrances and everywhere, all the main streets, more than the people entering town. I'm told that is Tanzania today. Is the government of Tanzania going to be able to deploy police daily for the next 5 years? The most sensible thing is to get to the negotiating table.
And I want now to shift focus to Uganda, and you have been representing Kizza Besigye. First, what is the state of Kizza Besigye? When the last time you spoke to him, how is he?
He is of strong spirit. He cannot be the same as he was, because 1 year of incarceration, you can't be the same. His health is not the same, but he is of strong spirit. And after each appearance in court, and we were in court on Thursday the 4th, he says, we shall never surrender to injustice. He's not talking about surrendering to anything else, to injustice. So he remains of strong spirit. But that does not give the regime in Uganda the right to continue holding him, arbitrarily. Why do I call it arbitrary? They purported to do committal in May this year. To date, as lawyers for Besigye, we have not been given the committal bundles. Even as they are telling us to plead, we are asking them to what? Because until we see the evidence against him, we do not know what we are being asked to plead to. He applied for bail after the elapse of 6 months or 180 days, as per the Ugandan constitution. He was not granted bail. They pushed the committal to block bail. The committal was a facade. If they have any evidence against him, we would have by now started the case. And the case can never start without the evidence being disclosed to the defense.
You were one of the people who put really pressure when Bob and Nicholas had gone missing in Uganda. Yeah. And then after their release, President Yoweri Museveni says that they were held in a fridge. Perhaps because what did you make of it?
He added, yes. He said because their country never asked for them. So he is saying just what we've been saying that the Kenya government and especially the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, his PS, and all the others there, they should have led for asking Uganda in writing, and even Tanzania during our deportation, Mwagondi's deportation, mistreatment and dumping of Boniface Mwangi, they should have sent a protest note. But if you remember, I saw Musalia almost very happy, almost gloating that what had we gone to do there. Yet he is having a comfortable life, a salary, because we pay taxes. Taxpayers are being mistreated in a neighboring country. You are collaborating. Even William Ruto is on salary courtesy of the taxpayer, everybody in government. They are our employees. It should be their first order of business through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to follow up cases of Kenyans abroad who are in trouble.
Mm-hmm. So we've seen the rising cases of cross-border. How would you say that we can make governments accountable?
One is to work together, and I want to salute Kenyans. They worked so hard during the abduction of Maria Tishai, a Tanzanian national living in Kenya. They worked so hard to internationalize the matter, and the matter got support of many people, including international players, and Maria herself played her bit because she did not cooperate with the abductors. And because of fear of Kenyans waiting at Namanga, she was released en route to Namanga. Kenyans have played a role in the release of Bob Jage, keeping the matter alive. release of Bob Jagi, the first time he was abducted in Kenya together with the Longton brothers, his second abduction with Nicholas Oyo, Kenyan played a role. And even when the fourth president, President Uhuru, intervened on their behalf, Kenyans were part of the push, and he was released.
Okay, now back to the country. We've been talking about Kenya too. The death of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. As we reflect now, perhaps how did you receive the news of Baba's death?
It was shocking. I actually had just landed in Entebbe, going to Kampala for Besi's case. I proceeded, after I opened my phone, I read the news. I had to first call Kenya to confirm. And I called the Right Honorable, the late Raila's people, just to confirm. Once I confirmed it was true, on my journey from Kampala to Entebbe, I was busy writing a message of condolence, which I then sent to my office to release as soon as the government of Kenya officially released the news. But the government of Kenya took so long that at 11, I signaled my people release the condolence message. Okay. Then when I came back from Uganda that night, I landed, our plane was delayed. It was to land in Kenya at 9 p.m. We landed at 11. I headed for Raila's residence to condole with Mama Ida. I was there by 11:30. I needed to condole on the same day. And the rest is history. It was a sad occasion. We mourn him, but even more, we celebrate him for his life's work of fighting for Kenyans. Like any human being, he had his weaknesses, but we remember the great work he and his entire family, including his wife and children, have done, the sacrifices they have made on behalf of the country. And for that, we shall celebrate him.
And perhaps what were your interactions with the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga in his final days? And did you get any message?
Not really. I'm not one of those he called while in India. But before he left for India, I had called him and I had gone public about it while on Nation TV, because he himself had said he had talked to me. So I confirmed it is me who called him. And I was actually asking him whether it doesn't bother him to be supporting a government that kills its own people. I was urging him to leave William Ruto's government because I was so sure without his support it would collapse even in parliament.
And perhaps what was his response?
He said, I didn't want an answer, an instant answer, because when you call somebody on such a heavy matter, I told him I'm not seeking an answer today. I'm leaving it with you to think. But he did say he was very uncomfortable. And because it's the time I was going to the US, July, it was around July 8th, 9th there, he said, we will talk when I come back. We did not get a chance to talk. Then he gets sick and he passes on.
All right. Yeah. And now we are headed to 2027 general elections, and it's going to be the first without Baba. Do you think that his death now changes the political landscape?
His death, no doubt, changes the political landscape. You've already seen disagreements within his party. But if there is someone bereaved politically, heavily, it's Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Because without Baba's presence, he will not get a unified voice or unified support. Even now, he is not so sure that he can make it another year in government. His government can collapse anytime, depending on how the politics plays itself in ODM. And ODM will also not be the same again. There are not two Babas. There was only one. He's gone.
Okay.
So I think there will be realignments. There will be political movement. Remember, electoral season, there is always movement. But Baba's absence will be felt and will be of great significance. I cannot claim to see exactly how, but there will be.
And speaking on matters, elections, what do you think is the reason why the opposition in just the recent concluded by-elections somewhat lost?
Did they lose? That's the question. Let's assume that the Electoral Commission gave us faithful figures and that in Bere North, William Ruto's UDA won with a mere, was it 300? 350 votes. After all that money, after taking military tankers like there was war in Bere, or you forget that we saw armored vehicles going to Bere, like there was combat. After all the electoral malpractices and bribery, you say you have won by 300 votes. If I were you, I would not celebrate. It just shows you that people are done with you. You did what you did because it's a by-election and you are concentrating on less. Parliamentary elections were less than 6. You are concentrating on a very small area. So you are able to exact. General election, may I remind you, you'll have 1,400, or is it 600 MCAs. So many, and there will be so many contestants. You have the entire country, over 53,000 polling units. Try us then. I assure Dr. William Ruto, one term. The lessons we have gained from these elections are that we have to be vigilant.
And now the question that many people have is that there are many parties in the united opposition.
And many standing presidents.
Yes, and many standing presidents.
At one of them.
Yes, yes, I'm seated with one of them.
Yes, yes.
So how then will all of you determine that which party feels a candidate where? What is the formula?
That it is for us to determine that formula. We are doing something that has already been done, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you remember NAC in NARC,
yes,
we had joint nominations. We were able to field a single candidate for every seat. We will learn best practices of past elections. We will blend them with newly acquired knowledge, and we'll get a formula, not just for the presidential candidate, but for the others. But in the meantime, our individual parties are growing themselves. PLP is growing itself. We now have offices in 31 counties, and we are moving. We are out on a recruitment drive. You're going to see us more out there, and I'll be there wooing voters so that I can be the presidential flag bearer of the opposition. Each party would like to present itself as the only one. So even when you hear parties say this area is mine, the Constitution doesn't recognize that. All areas are PLP areas, and all areas are the next party's areas. All areas are open. All seats are open. That's democracy. And the good thing is, as we grow together, as Kenyans and as opposition, we'll all have learned lessons of democracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we cannot forget to mention former President Uhuru Kenyatta when you speak about the opposition. And I'm wondering, what is the relationship with Uhuru with you? Where does it stand? When was the last time you spoke to him?
He doesn't cease to be my brother just because his party has a presidential candidate. Dr. Matiang'i himself is my brother. Kalonzo is my political twin. Everybody is my brother. Rigathi is my brother from the mountain. All of them. Eugene is my younger brother. Muturi is my age mate and brother. So is many others who have not come. And some will be younger, so some will be as young as to be called son by some of us. All of them are my brothers, and we'll have healthy competition. And if a sister comes, why not? We'll have healthy competition. For those of us in the same bracket, united opposition, we will get one flag bearer. And we are hoping that that house will continue to expand. More people will come in it so that we can all further this one-term movement to relieve Kenyans of the pain that has been inflicted by the extractive, rogue William Ruto regime.
And now, what way forward for you ahead of 2027?
campaign and more campaign to popularize myself as a candidate, campaign and more campaign for PLP to popularize itself, campaign and more campaign within the united opposition for the one-term movement and to enhance our solidarity. And also, we shall keep pushing back to ensure that Kenya does not deteriorate to a dictatorship. And I've seen that William Ruto has been in a hurry to graduate as a dictator. What has taken others, leaders he's working with 40 years, he wants to achieve in a short 3 years. We must collectively, and I said this last December, I want to say it now. Now I have others we are standing with as the united opposition. We will thwart your graduation into a dictator. Yeah.
All right, speaking of President William Ruto,
yeah.
How would you rate his performance so far 3 years?
I think E- would be an exaggeration. It's F.
Oh, really?
Failure, yes.
Why would you say that?
When you kill your citizens, when you show you fear your citizens, and when I say kill, it's not only those protesting. Look at how the residents of Kakamega have been dealt with. Merely because there is gold, how do you go to evict violently, killing 3? Our constitution is very clear. If you have to evict for any development, let's assume excavation of the gold is development, public participation, informed consent of the people you are moving, compensation, alternative accommodation, alternative place where they are being relocated to. That's what happened in Kirinyaga when the Ruto regime was building the Dhiba Dam. Negotiated during the Kibaki era, but paid during, I think it was paid towards the end of the Kibaki era. That was the first huge compensation, and I'm proud to have negotiated as an MP. And it was in line with UN guidelines and our laws. The second SGR, you did not see any forced eviction during the SGR. William Ruto was in the Ruto government.
Okay.
Because this is our home.
All right. Yeah. And now we are in the festive mood. The holiday season is
Before
here.
The festive mood, I would say as a standing president, we are telling Ruto one term. Martha Karua is also seeking one term. Why? In a region where leaders are refusing to leave office and treating election as a title deed, where you tell people that others have gotten 10 years, why not me? When you are employed, it's your performance that matters. You can be terminated even before the contractual term. So I'm seeking one term. I'm telling my colleagues, let us agree that one term is not just for Ruto. It's for everybody. Until our country and the region, itulie, watu waelewe that leadership is not a title deed. Any serious person can bring fundamental changes in 5 years. For the festive season, I know it will not be all that rosy for everyone. Many households cannot have 3 meals a day. And there are those who are so badly off that even 1 meal a day is a problem. I will say, in our spirit of sharing, let those who have something to share with the next person. And therefore, I wish all of us a blessed holiday season.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking with us. And of course, thanks to you for watching TV47 always. I am Sheila Chelangat. Do keep it TV47.